think we'll get started. I'm very excited to see so many of you here. Welcome to the Honours in Medical Sciences. Before we get started, I'd just like to acknowledge and pay respect to the traditional owners of the land that we're meeting on today. We're in Camperdown, so this land belongs to the Gadigal people of the Eora Nation. And I'd like to pay my respects to those who have cared and continue to care for country. So welcome everybody. So this is just very quickly what's going to happen today. You're in the honours information session, so you've passed the first hurdle. Congratulations. And we're going to I'm going to tell you a bit about the overall structure of the programme, how to look for projects, and then how to apply. And then after that, so in the room next to us at the moment, the current semester 2 honours students are having their posters being assessed at the moment for their SOMS4101 unit, and you'll find out a little bit more about that soon. But at 1:15 we will open these dividing doors, and you'll get to see all those posters. There are some supervisors, chat to the honours students, chat to the honours supervisors who are there. You can talk to them about the projects they're doing and projects that may be available for semester 2 2023 start. And at the same time, we've got lunch provided, and that will be in this sort of flow out area outside this room. So grab a sandwich and go and take a look at some of the posters and get chatting to people. Okay, so first things first, one of the pathways to enter SOMS Honours is via the Bachelor of Advanced Studies Honours. So that requirement would be that you're already a usage student enrolled in that 4-year combined Bachelor of Advanced Studies degree. And you're required to be on course to complete your double major by the end of semester 1. And have completed your 144 credit points if you want to start in semester 2 this year. One of those majors must be in the School of Medical Sciences, and ideally it will align with the project that you'd like to do. School requirement is that your WAM is over 65. Now, if your overall WAM is not over 65, we may be able to consider you if you meet the 48 credit point rule. Now, that is, if you can gather together 48 credit points of 2nd or 3rd year units that are relevant to the project that you want to do, and your average over those 48 credit points is over 65, then we may still be able to consider you for entry. So do bear that in mind. And lastly, and most importantly, you need to have contacted a supervisor, and they have agreed to host you to in their research group for an honours project. Okay, so if you don't have 2 majors, or if you're an external student, you can still complete honours with us. And that would be, you will be applying for the Bachelor of Science Honours. So this is previously only open to students who studied pre-2018, but it's now open to any student without 2 majors who've completed a single major. So if you're not enrolled in the Bachelor of Advanced Studies, don't worry, you can still apply via the Bachelor of Science Honours route. And so, yeah, so this is all includes all external students. I don't know how many external students we have in today, but if this would be the route you would apply through. Again, your WAM would need to be over 65 or meet that 48 credit point rule. And you can follow this link for more information on that. So just wanted to take some time to give you an idea of what the actual honours year will involve. Now, many of you will be students at the moment, and you have a pretty good idea of what being a student at a university is all about. You go to classes, you listen to supervisors, listen to lecturers giving the lectures, or you have tutorials, you have assignments set for you, and you complete them. Now, honours year is very, very different from that. It's going to be a self-directed research project that comprises 75% of your mark. And so you'll be doing active research throughout the year. And then towards the end of the year, you'll be submitting 2 pieces of work that will form that 75%. And I'll go into that in a minute. Alongside that, you've got coursework, which will comprise 25% of the mark. So going a bit more into this research project. This research project is worth 36 credit points, and it's a full-time commitment. So that means Monday to Friday, every day in most cases. And that's just something to bear in mind if you also doing work to support your studies. Realize it's not always possible at all to just be a full-time student and not do any external work. In this, you have to be able to financially support yourself, but you do have to understand that the research project is full-time. So, you need to work out some way of balancing that with your with external work, without your mental health suffering or your project suffering, I guess. So just bear that in mind, and when you start to talk to supervisors about the projects, because some projects may be more or less flexible, but they do all require full-time work. And there are some projects that might require you to come in at the weekends occasionally. So, just bear that in mind when you're talking to people. So this research project, 80% of that mark will be devoted to an honours thesis. So this is a 10,000 word thesis that will be marked by 2 examiners. And for semester 2 start, it would be due in June next year, or November if you were starting in semester 1, 2024. And then 1 to 2 weeks after that, you'll be asked to do a final oral presentation. That'd be worth 20% of the mark. Now, this will be a 15-minute presentation telling the audience all about your research project, the background to it, the techniques you used, the results you found, and their significance, basically. You'll see that the presentation is split in 15 minutes of presentation and 10 minutes of questions. And we ask for that because it's very important that you're able to demonstrate your knowledge of the project. We're not expecting you to be lab technicians for this time. You're not just a robot doing everything that your supervisor tells you to do and not really thinking too much about it. You're really involved in your project. And when you stand up and give your talk, you'll be the world expert in your particular project. So, and we want to give you the opportunity to demonstrate that knowledge by quite an extended question and answer session. So the coursework, that's 25%, is split up into 2 units. So there's SOMS4101, and that's run in the first honours semester. So if you're starting in semester 2, 2023, that would be semester 2. And then there's SOMS4102, which starts in the second honours semester. So semester 1 of the following year. So SOMS4101 is called Research Skills for Medical Sciences. It's worth 6 credit points. And the coordinator for that's Dr. Najla Nasrin. Now, this unit has been designed to help you acquire those skills that will really give you a head start with your research project. So it involves various different modules involving experimental design, scientific writing, interpreting and presenting and analysing your data, problem solving, and working with a team to get to a solution. Now, the last day to enrol for this course is the 17th of July. For a semester 2 start. So do bear in mind that you do have to have your semester 1 results back for all units by this date. So it's run in intensive mode. So it's 4 weeks starting from it's the August intensive mode. So it starts on the 31st of July and will run for 4 weeks. So this is an overview of the modules you can choose. So in that first week, these modules are all compulsory and they give you these core skills that every project will require. So work health and safety, research integrity, some basic grounding in biostatistics, and ethics, so that you understand the ethical implications of animal or human research. Now, those all are compulsory modules. In weeks 2 to 3, you can pick one of each of these modules here, basically. So, and this should be done in consultation with your project supervisor. So, for example, if you're doing a project that involves DNA sequencing and protein work, perhaps you would pick the PCR genomics module in week 2, the mass spectrometry module in the 3rd week, and then in the 4th week, perhaps the Western blotting proteomics module. So as I said, there's more, you should consult with your supervisor to select the correct project, the most appropriate modules for that will set you up properly with your project. If you want to read some more about those module details, you can go to that link and find out more there. Now, with the SOMS4101, the format of it for each week is that you'll have some pre-readings online and some quizzes to demonstrate that you understand the pre-readings, and then you'll have 10 to 14 hours of face-to-face teaching. So that will either be lectures, seminars, or practicals, in-class assessments, and it will end with a final lab report, basically. Now, this is face-to-face teaching, so you do need to, it's not possible to do this unit remotely, I have to stress that. So that, combined with the fact that it starts on the 31st of July, means that you need to make sure you're around in order to be able to attend this. Because if you don't complete this unit, if you don't enroll in this unit, you won't be able to do the honours programme for that semester. So, so it runs for 4 weeks, starting from the 31st of July. So it runs for pretty much all of August. In that 5th week, there'll be a final in-class assessment for all the modules, and all the assessments will be completed by the end of that 5th week. And so you'll be able to devote your time full-time to your research project from around the 4th of September. SOMS4102 is the 2nd coursework unit. So this would start in semester 1, and it's called Communicating Ideas and Biomedical Science. The coordinator for this unit is Professor Andrew Harmon, and this has been designed to really help you with the second half of your project, basically, where you're starting to get your results and helping you sort of communicate the context and the significance of the results that you found and the experiments that you're doing. So there are 3 larger components. Firstly, there's an oral presentation of your research, and that happens fairly on in that semester. So you may very well not have many results to present, but it's to give you sort of a practice run, to get some feedback on how to get to deliver your ideas effectively, so that when you come to give your final thesis talk, it's not the first time you've stood up in front of an audience and presented your work orally. Also, another portion of the mark is devoted to a poster presentation at a conference style setting, which is exactly what the semester 2 22 students are doing right now in the room next door, basically. So they've presented a research poster presenting their results from their project so far, and they're discussing it with supervisors and examiners, and soon they'll be discussing it with you guys. Now, the larger part of this unit is devoted to writing a grant proposal. Now, that might freak some of you out. It's not something that many students are used to doing, and it's actually quite a tricky skill for academics to pick up as well, but it's something that all research academics have to do, and it's really critical that you get the skills. If you're wanting to continue in research, you get the skills to really be able to sort of pitch why your work is important, in order to be able to convince a funding body to give you money, because if you don't have the money, you won't be able to do the research. So this is a really critical skill, and it really helps hone your ideas and develop your way of communicating why you think your research is really important. Lastly, there's 10% of this coursework mark is devoted to seminar participation. Now, we have a range of fantastic research institutes and researchers spread through the university, making up the School of Medical Sciences. And there is always research seminars going on where these academics are standing up and telling us all about what they have found in their labs recently. And we ask that you attend at least one seminar weekly. I think it's about 15 through the year, and you log those in a seminar attendance logbook, and you'll write up 4 of them. What questions you asked and what the response was and things like that. So obviously the poster session, this was the first one we held last year at Westmead, which went really well, and we're having the smaller version of it here today next door, and it really gives you the opportunity to present your research, chat to your fellow students about their research. Is a great way to check in with them as well. And what you'll get out of it today is that you'll be able to speak to students who are doing honours now, and you'll be able to ask them about their projects, what they find interesting about it, how well what do they think of their lab, what do they think of their supervisors, and things like that. So going back to that project, so these are the honours areas that we offer as part of the School of Medical Sciences programme. Now, these honours areas will appear on your testimonial, that which honours area you pick will appear on your testimonial at the end of your honours. So it's important that you pick one that you are happy to have there. So we've got anatomy and histology, applied medical sciences, cell and developmental biology, infectious diseases, immunology, medicinal chemistry, neuroscience, pathology, pharmacology, physiology. So there's something for everyone there. And if you're an internal student, you'll notice that they align with the majors that you can do in the medical sciences, in the School of Medical Sciences as part of your undergraduate degree. Now, as well as those topic areas, we have different styles of projects that are available. So we've got projects where you're doing basic research, you're in a wet lab, you're pipetting very small amounts of liquid from one tube to another, and you're actually doing the molecular biology experiments to understand sort of the fundamentals of a disease that you're interested in. There's the opportunity to do clinical research, so working with human subjects. There's also doing bioinformatics, so data analysis, public health, looking at epidemiology, qualitative research, more description type research, and allied health, so physiotherapy and things like that. So whatever kind of thing you're interested in within medical sciences remit, we almost certain to have a project that will appeal to you. So we have a number of campuses where you can actually undertake your honours project. So we're in the Camperdown campus, and I'll go on to that at the moment. But we also have the Westmead campus that you're able to do projects there. So it's the largest health precinct in the Southern Hemisphere. I won't go all through all the various different centres there, but there are several different centres they're doing sort of world-class research. So it's somewhere that you might want to consider taking up a project. As I mentioned, we also have the Camperdown campus that we all know about, and includes as well as the main buildings. Just we have these research centres basically. So we're in the Charles Perkins Centre, so presumably you know about that one. But we also have the Brain and Mind Centre. Down on Mallet Street, we have the Centenary Institute and the Heart Research Institute and other places basically to do research. In addition, we've got Anzac Research Institute at Concord, the Colling Research Institute at Royal North Shore, and the Save Sight Institute at Sydney Eye Hospital. So we're kind of scattered all over Sydney, and you can choose a project based on whereabouts you'd like to go as well. So I've talked a lot about the actual research program and the structure and everything. And then I thought it would be good to talk about the nuts and bolts of how you actually go to apply. Now, there are 4 main steps. So I just thought we'd break it down. So firstly, obviously, you need to actually have a project to read, right? And so the first part of that is to find a research project that you're interested in. Now, this you can visit this website here. And you can, this is what the page looks like. If you registered, you would have received an email telling you that this page has gone live. So hopefully you've had a little bit of a look and a play there to see what projects you might be interested in. But this portal will allow you to search by text. You can select if it's very important to you, for example, that you do an honours area in anatomy and histology, then you can select that. If you want to have a look at the different lab locations that are available, you can filter for that. Or if you're interested in a specific primary supervisor, you can filter for that and then click search. So it will display the number of projects that come under your various different criteria. And you can show, if you click this toggle here, you will end up showing more detail about each project, so that the actual project synopsis rather than just the title and the location and the supervisors. You can also click on this button here, view details, and you'll get a detailed view with a page devoted to the project. So it sort of looks like this. So you get the full detail of the project. Up here, this is actually an active link. You can click that to view the supervisor's profile in University of Sydney. So you find a little there. There's a web page that the supervisor will have written a little bit more about their lab and the research projects they're doing in general. You'll find the synopsis of the projects that they're offering for the actual honours programme. And then you'll find here, this again is an active link, which has the primary supervisor's email address so that you can contact them. Then there's at the bottom of the page, there's sort of instructions of the order in which you're supposed to do things. And then this hasn't gone live yet, but in May, an apply button will click here, and then you'll be able to submit your formal expression of interest. It's important to note that you should not click apply until you've actually contacted the primary supervisor, had a chat with them, and they have agreed to host you for the project. So coming on to that, you should discuss that research project with the supervisors. So identify those projects that you're really interested in. Many students pick 3 or 4 projects that they're really interested in and set up meetings for each of those projects. So you can either talk to the supervisors and their students today at the poster session, and I really recommend if you've got a project in mind, you can find what who the supervisor is for that project, and then check to see if there's a poster either by them or their honours student in the room next door. And that's a really great way that you can get a really good feel for their research, and have a chat to them if the supervisor's around, or the students. If they're not around, or if you want to chat some more, then please email them after the session, requesting either a face-to-face or a Zoom meeting in order to discuss the project. Now, just be aware that supervisors and popular supervisors will likely get applications from multiple students. So you need to treat it like an interview and prepare well. And that's not to say that you go away for a week and you read every single research paper that the supervisor's ever published, but you should read their profile page on UCID and have a look at 2 or 3 of their most recent papers. Now, the papers where they're either first author or last author or near the end are usually the projects that they've been most involved in. So perhaps take a look at those, make sure you've read the abstract and you kind of understand the concept of the project. And ask some questions about their research. You want to find out more about the project and the background to their labs, and let them know why you want to do this project, basically. If there's anything that you you need to find out that will help you choose. Make sure you ask those kind of questions. As I mentioned before, some projects might need you to work at the weekends occasionally. You can ask that kind of question. You can ask them, what would a typical week look like in terms of doing the research? What would that look day to day? You want to get as much information as possible to help you decide whether the project would be a good fit for you in your situation. So just a bit more information, I guess, or some tips on how you should choose a research group. So obviously the project's important, but the environment that the project is being done in is important too. So the project itself, make sure it's a field of research that excites you. You're going to be doing the project for a full-time project for most of the year. So you need to pick something that you feel passionate about. So that's enjoyable to actually do the research. Ideally, the honours project should align with your major. It doesn't have to, but it's something to bear in mind. But at least that the topics, and the supervisor will be looking at your transcript to check that you have enough background knowledge in order to be able to do the research project. You should recommend that you find a productive group. Check on the usage profile page of the supervisor for the recent papers, the publications in high quality journals, and it's good to speak to supervisors about what their former honours students are doing now. So just to get an idea of how the lab works and whether they've been successful, whether their honours students have been successful with their projects and what they've gone on to do afterwards. And sort of related to that, you really want to make sure that where you're going to be doing your project is going to be supportive for you. So if you can, you speak to other students in the group if you do a face-to-face meeting, and ask them what it's like to work in the research group. This is why the opportunity next door with the current honours students will be great, because they'll be able to, they are in the labs doing research at the moment. So it'll be a really good opportunity for you to chat to them, to see how they're going and what they think of the lab that they chose to work in. And just check whether there are other lab members that will be available to help support you on the day-to-day basis. Just to reiterate why we're so excited about the School of Medical Sciences Honours Programme is that you really get to work on problems that are affecting real people. Any project that you do within this programme has a real world impact on human health. So whether it's basic science, doing the fundamental research, understanding, the molecular biology of why disease pathogenesis, through from translational research to clinical research, where you're actually dealing with human subjects and working with real people with potentially a real disease that you are trying to help ameliorate. And also the institutes and the centres here produce research of the very highest quality. We have a whole series of world-class leading laboratories here at UCID. And as an honours student, you'll get a real opportunity to contribute to that. So just as this is a illustration of one article that's a few years old now, but in Nature Communications, and everyone with a red box around them was an honours student. So this is when they did honours for this lab, and you can see that many of them have gone on to do a PhD. Some of them were studying medicine. Some of them have gone overseas to do their postdoc or their PhD. And also, so these people in green are researchers based overseas. So you're actually doing research in collaboration with these world-leading people internationally. So you really have an opportunity to contribute to some really exciting research in a meaningful way. Just another example here. So here, another really important paper. So there are 3 honours students who were involved at various different points. And this honours student, their project was so critical to this paper being published that they were actually first author, and that's that's a huge asset to you, to feel that you contributed meaningfully to this research. And if you're considering doing a PhD, for example, having a first author paper coming from your honours project will be absolutely invaluable for applying for scholarships. So the way the honours programme works is you'll have really close supervision from your primary supervisor. You'll typically meet with them perhaps once a week, and if they have postdocs in the lab, you'll probably be meeting with them, even more regularly. You'll review, you'll do your experiments, and you'll chat to your supervisor to review those experiments, help troubleshoot them, help work out the significance and what the experiments to do for the following period. We also offer a peer mentoring scheme. So this is where you're paired up with someone who's previously been an honours student here at UCID. So either as a current PhD student or someone's who's working as a research assistant. They won't be connected with your research project, but if you'd like to take part in this programme, you'll be assigned someone who is there to sort of listen, to offer advice. They've been there, and they've been there pretty recently, so they know what it's like. They know it's a very challenging time. You'll be doing something that's very different from the rest of your university experience, and that can bring excitement, but can also bring challenges. So it's really great to have someone to be able to share that with, and to share the highs and lows of your year. My experiment's still not working. I keep trying and trying, and I just, I'm getting so frustrated with it. Or, oh my God, the experiment finally worked, and it did show what we were hoping it would show. Amazing. It can be a roller coaster journey, and it's great to have someone to be able to share it with. Talking of sharing, there's also the Honour Society. So this is run, I think, by PhD students, but also honour students. So you have an opportunity to contribute if you like, and there are various different events that happen through the year, and it's just a way to enable you to meet other honours students that aren't necessarily in your lab or even in your building, but across the university. There's various opportunities to get together and socialise. So, having done my little advert for how great doing an honours project is, here we'll go back to the next step in the process of applying. So, you've selected your research project, and you have confirmed support from an honours supervisor that they are willing to host you for that project. The next step is to submit your formal expression of interest to us at the School of Medical Sciences, and the deadline for that is the 16th of June 2023. Now, I just need to point out that this isn't your enrolment into the university. It's a separate process, but it allows us to know in advance that you are coming to do to take up a research project, and it gives us advance notice of what modules people will be doing for that first intensive course, because that all needs to be organised pretty quickly at the start of semester. So just bear in mind, this isn't the only thing you do. This is why this is step 2 and not the last step. So you go back to that honours search tool that I showed you the web page before, and you select the project version with the correct honours area. So you can see here you have 2 projects here. It's one project, but it appears twice because it's being offered under the neuroscience area and the pathology area. So if you want your honours to be in neuroscience, you click this one. If you want your honours area listed on your testimonial to be pathology, you click this one. It's the identical project, but it's just what your honours discipline will end up showing as. So pick the area that you want to come out with honours in, and you click View Details on that. And then right at the bottom of the project detail page, you will see this isn't here yet. It will appear from May onwards, but you'll see these two buttons to be able to submit your formal expression of interest. So if you are a current student or a recent usage student, you can, and you've got your UniKey details, you can apply, you click this button to apply using your UniKey. If you're an external student, you click this button here. I've already told you it's not an enrolment form. So this is what it will look like if you're an internal student. So the project information will be pre-filled and your student information where available. And so you'll just fill in the missing details, what your estimated final WAM is and things like that. If you're an external student, the project information will be pre-filled, but obviously you'll need to fill in all your student information, including, and we need an upload of your academic transcript. What you'll also need to do is select the SOMS4101 modules that you'll be doing. So week 1, all those modules are mandatory, but you need to select the modules you'll be doing weeks 2 to 4. Now do remember, before you go to submit this, to have a chat with your project supervisor about which modules that they think are right for you. And they may say, look, it doesn't, these 2 modules are important, but for the other module, you can choose what you like. And so just, read, do something that you think is interesting. And then you'll click the submit button once you've selected those modules. And you'll get, if you manage to successfully lodge your expression of interest, you'll get this acknowledgement thing will flash up on the screen. Please note the reference number that comes up on the screen. Note that down separately. And the reason we ask you to do that is that you should shortly afterwards receive an acknowledgement email. Obviously, you won't if the email address is wrong, or if, potentially if there's a technical glitch, we need to be able to, you need to be able to tell us what project you actually submitted to. So if you don't get that acknowledgement email shortly after submitting your expression of interest, please email SOMS Honours at that email address and cite the reference number, just so that we can chase it up and see what's happened. And that's really important, because if you don't get that received application, we don't know that you've submitted your expression of interest. So yeah, it's important. So what happens with that is that gets sent through to the supervisor, and they'll accept the EOI, assuming that you have actually been in contact. And that's why it's important that you get the agreement from the supervisor beforehand, that it's been that they're happy to host you. Anyway, once they've accepted your expression of interest, your EOI, you'll receive this email confirming the honours area. So here it's physiology and the SOMS4101 modules that you've picked. Attached to this email is the PDF confirmation of supervision, which will look like this, basically. And it's really important that you keep a copy of this, because this will be needed to accompany your formal application for admission. So at this stage, you've just done the letting the school know that you would like to do an honours project. The second part is, the last part is to actually apply formally to the university. Now, you can only submit and have accepted one EOI, basically. So if you change your mind for any reason, you wanted to do a different project, or if you decide that you don't want to do honours in that semester, you do need to withdraw that EOI. Otherwise, that project it's not available to any other students to do. So if you're an internal student, what will happen is when you click on that project, instead of the Apply Now button, this will come up, and it will show you the expressions of interest that you've already got in the system. and then there's a button here that you can click to just click withdraw. That's pretty easy. If you're an external student, you won't see this view, and so you'll need to email SOMS Honours to let us know that you need to withdraw your EOI. We do appreciate being told about that as soon as possible so that the project can become available to other students who might want to study it. So yes, so this last step is step 4, submitting your formal application for admission. So if you're enrolled in that 4-year combined BAS degree, you'll be applying within Sydney Student. And then there are these 2 links here for if you're doing the Bachelor of Science, the standalone honours, the Bachelor of Science honours. And this includes people doing the Bachelor of Science with and having selected the medical sciences program. There used to be a degree that we did that was called Bachelor of Medical Sciences. We don't offer that degree anymore, but if you have done that degree in the past and you want to add honours to it, you select that link. So the deadline for submitting this formal application for the BSc is the 25th of June, and for the BAS, it's the 30th of June. So in that formal application, you need to do 2 things. You need to do a few things, but 2 important things. You need to make sure that you apply for the same honours area that you selected for the project. So if you selected a project under the neuroscience discipline, you need to apply for honours in the neuroscience discipline. And the second thing you need to do is you need to attach that PDF confirmation of supervision that you received, and if you don't, then the admissions office will just send it back to you and ask you to attach that. So you can do that before you've sat your exams in your semester 1 exams if you've still got units to complete. But what will happen is you won't actually get your formal offer until your exam results are released. Now, just to reiterate the point that you will need to start, that your last day to add the SOMS4101 unit is the 17th of July. So that does make it very tricky to start honours if you are doing replacement exams that are after the end of semester 1. So do try to avoid that if possible. Try to get all your exams done within semester, within the normal times, basically. Otherwise, it may be that you will have to delay honours until the next semester. So I've nearly finished blathering. Thank you very much for listening to me for nearly 3/4 of an hour. I just wanted to give you our contact details. Obviously, you can ask questions now, but if anything does occur to you afterwards, then we're available to contact. So the honours admissions team is split into 3 areas. And so I'm Carol Dobson-Stone. Probably should have introduced myself at the start, but hopefully you worked that out from my name being at the front of the presentation. But I deal with the honours that are in the anatomy and histology, cell and developmental biology, medicinal chemistry, neuroscience, and pharmacology disciplines. At the back there is Mark Lawrence. Hi, Mark. And he deals with projects that are in the immunology, infectious diseases, pathology, and physiology disciplines. And we have Liz Clark, who's not in the room at the moment, but she is here today. And she deals with honours projects that are in applied medical sciences. If you don't know who to contact, or if it's something that's not immediately related to a specific project, then please just email the SOMS Honours email address, and that will get triaged to the relevant person. So that's everything I wanted to say. I hope I gave you a bit of an overview there. Are there any questions? Mark, you've got the mic if, yeah, okay. Wow, I've done a pretty good job of explaining. Probably everyone's just excited to get sandwiches in the system and have a look at the posters. If anything does occur to you, then yeah, please do get in touch with us. We're happy to, oh, yep. Oh, sorry, I'm just gonna, just because we're recording the session, so is it all right if you have the microphone and then, thank you.
I was just wondering, will there be another showcase next semester for the beginning, like 2024 honours?
There will be, so yes, so there'll be another showcase in it will, the one we held last year was in September, so I imagine it will be in September, and that will be for students who are thinking of starting semester 1 2024. Any other questions? Okay, Mark, is there anything I left out? Is there anything I needed to add?
It's good.
Okay, great. Well, thank you, everybody. Look, I'm really excited for you guys. If you choose to do an honours here, I must admit I did my undergraduate degree a long time ago, and it was at quite a formal university with a very traditional learning structure, and I was pretty bored by the time I got to the end of my third year, and I thought I didn't want to do science at all. But it wasn't until I did my research project, that's roughly equivalent to the honours, that I really lit a fire in me, and I was, you know, I was so excited to do research, and I'm still an academic researcher today, and I'm hoping that doing an honours with us will light that fire in some of you guys as well, because it's a fantastic thing to do, to be doing research, and yeah, this will give you a really great flavour of what being a researcher is really like. Okay.